All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Talking with Tarashuk podcast, episode number 61. This is the first unknown, unnamed nonsense, the new unknown, unnamed nonsense of 2023. And it's already May. So if you can believe that, it's been a long time. Christian, my man behind the board, we are back, baby. We're done, son. We're here for another edition of unknown, unnamed nonsense. My man, how are you? Looking fly as ever.
I'm good. I can't match that energy, man. But it's good to be back. How long has it been?
I think the last one we recorded might have been in November, if not the end of October. It was around in the 30s, late 30s, maybe early 40s. Was the last one we did an episode. This is number episode 61. And then we did the How to Start a Podcast series. And then I just had a bunch of interviews lined up, picked up a few clients for the podcast. So I've been a busy bee, a lot of stuff going on, making that money, if you know what I mean. So, but I had a free week, and I figured we're going to start doing these again at least once a month. We're going to do the unnamed nonsense. If you forget what that is, I don't blame you. It is still, all the replays have been playing every single day on the unnamed nonsense feed, which is the Talking Nonsense with Tarashuk podcast playlist feed. Anywhere podcasts can be found, but unnamed nonsense. We have a list of questions that's completely random, made up most of them, if not all of them, completely off the top of my head. It's a growing list of 200 and counting. Christian, the man behind the board, asks a question, and then we have fun answering the question. And then we kind of just go from there. The conversation continues, and if we kind of get stuck, nothing to talk about, bam, we go to another random question. If you want to submit your questions to be asked on the podcast, email me, will@apspodcast.com. That's apspodcast.com. Or if you want to be a guest and have fun in this little game show we have, we can do it. You can be either local to Montclair, New Jersey. We can do it in person, or we can bring you in remote over Zoom. It just takes a little bit of setup time and testing, but it can be done. We have done them both to great success. So, yeah, Christian, that's pretty much anything I forgot for this fun-filled podcast we do together.
No, that was the synopsis. That was the description. That was the whole movie. When you were saying 30s, 40s, at first I thought you were talking about what episode you were on, and I was like, damn. I was like, what is this? Is number 61, and you were on number 30 or 40? You know,
it was like the late 30s, early 40s. We probably did it last time we did
in temperature.
Nonsense.
In temperature.
That too. Episode number and
oh,
temperature.
No. So it was episode number and
episode
temperature.
Number. Yeah, episode number and temperature.
Right.
If I had to guess, it's probably like 41, 42.
Okay.
But I don't know. Doesn't matter. Neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Let's ask our first question.
First question. Are you free more as a kid or as an adult?
Oof.
I mean,
go ahead. Answer it.
I'm gonna give both sides of the coin here. You are definitely way more free as a kid in certain terms. Where, I mean, especially when you're a little kid, all you do is just have fun. Realistically, like childhood, playing outside, playing basketball, and then school a little bit. Like, which at the time, when you get older, you think it's such a hassle, but you're barely paying for anything. Even in high school, like let's say you have a job. I mean, I'm privileged to have that situation where my money is not actually like, my parents could like care less whether I'm working or not because it's not actually contributing towards the bills. But that was my situation. So, I mean, I had a little job and it's just hang out. It's a joyride. Versus when you start adulting, the things you want, they're a little bit further out of reach. They take a lot more effort. So that's kind of both sides of the coin. I mean, because as an adult, you could do whatever you want. You could stay up all night, go out. There's no supervision. Just do whatever the hell you want. If you want something, you don't gotta ask someone. If you're a single man, legally single, just thinking for yourself, then there's freedom in that way. But money talks in this country.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, it really does come about money. So I wrote this question thinking, I'm going to talk about taxes. When you're a kid, you are the most free because you don't have to pay taxes. You got to pay for anything. You are literally financially free because you don't pay for anything.
You don't pay any rent. You
don't
pay for food. You know how much you pay for food?
A lot. Actually, a few years ago, I did go through each and every single one of my bank statements because I was curious. I categorized everything I ever spent for the entire year. I spent a lot of money on food. That's like grocery shopping, restaurants, like dates, it's pizza, like ordering Grubhub, like whatever. I spent a lot of money on food. I kind of put things into perspective. But when, like, back to the point at hand, when you're a kid, you have just ignorance. Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance to the point is freedom. Like, if you have no idea what's going on with the debt ceiling in this country, like, that's freedom to me. It's no stress. It's easy peasy. But then again, as an adult, I can get in my car and drive somewhere. As an adult, I get to tell people what to do, whether it's at my job or it's my own kids when I have them, knock on wood. Like, as a kid, the only tyranny you have is your parents, and as an adult, the tyranny you have is a government. So
Government and being and being a slave to a paycheck potentially. But I just went on a 1-week cruise with all you could eat and all you could drink. That is also freedom. So, depends on how you want to look at it.
yeah, I mean, I do miss being a kid, but I also, man, I love being an adult.
I mean, the joy that you experience from the simplest things as a kid.
Yeah.
Having like a balloon fight. You know what I'm saying? Things that just don't, it's just fun. It's just joy. It's like law of diminishing returns. As you get older, you just need a little bit more.
Yeah, you always need more. Well, I tell you, it comes down to money. You're financially free as a kid because you don't understand the concept of money. I just pay taxes. That's terrible. I hated paying taxes. As a kid, you're like, I don't understand what taxes are. I mean, sales tax, when you buy something, a little three-letter word that you don't know what it means. Like, yeah, it's the best. When we were kids, we used to throw acorns at each other. They called them acorn wars. We used to play wiffle ball in the backyard. Like, just none of that. The biggest cause was like, oh, I have a spelling test in 3rd grade. And as you got a little older, it's like, oh, I got to learn to drive a car. It's up to work. But it is a give and take. But if you're a poor kid, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. If you're an adult or whatever.
Even as a poor kid, I can't speak on that, but I can imagine there are those hardships. However, you still have that childlike innocence where playing tag is fun. You know what I mean? Because I think as a kid, you're used to you can't. I mean, you don't have money, so you're used to just depending on other people or comfortable with not having the things that you haven't figured out that you want yet because you haven't, like you said, understood the concept of money and what it can get you.
What's also with consequences, right? When you're a kid, you get punished either by a school, your parents, an older brother, a sister, or it's the most extreme case is you go to juvie, right? Juvenile hall. Whereas in adult, the consequences, man, they lock you up.
If you want to talk about true freedom, that is a good way to put it.
Yeah, right? Like if you fuck up as a kid, the worst that gets to happen is you go to juvie and then, you have a record.
I mean, juvie's
no still redemption.
I mean, juvie's no cakewalk, but it ain't federal prison. It's not state prison.
Right, they don't put you in solitary confinement in an 8x8 by 8.5 by 11. Like,
I mean, but it's relative though. It's relative,
Yeah.
For a kid that is a lot.
Of course, of course, and it's sort of traumatizing, but it's not like if you screw up as a kid, there's room for improvement and redemption. If you're a felon, good luck getting a job. It's funny, I was actually over here on the way over here. I was like, man, because I was listening to Joey Diaz on a podcast, and he's a former felon. I was like, the only reason he's successful is because he went into art. It's like, well, if you're a felon and you get out of jail, the only career path you can actually do without any like pushback because of your record is art. You can become an actor, you can become a comedian, you can become a musician.
Or you could. It's really
like
entrepreneurship. You have to go into it. You have to own your own business.
Could you?
And that's hard. And that's hard for people who aren't a felon.
Yeah. Could you do your job if you had a criminal record?
No.
I couldn't do my job.
No.
But if I was a kid who went to juvie, I probably could set up my job because there's always room for
but I love how they try to ask you on the application as if there's hope.
Yeah.
It's like, do you have a felony?
I'm like, no, not that I know of. As far as I know, there is not a warrant out for my arrest because I'm a free adult.
I mean, yeah, man, it's tough because it's because it's not apples to apples.
No.
Freedom as a child versus freedom as an adult are two different things, and it depends. See, there's so many different ways to put it. Living by your own rules, that's adult.
Yeah.
That's freedom.
Yeah.
But it comes with all those strings, so is it?
Yeah, I did love living alone. I do love living with my girlfriend now, but I
Hmm.
also did love living. I didn't think I'd like living alone as much as I actually did because I did have the freedom to do whatever I want. I could just sit in on Saturday and play video games all day. I didn't have to pretend to want to watch some movie that Jazz wants to watch on a Saturday night or whatever, right? So like, there's plenty of limitations as an adult, and I wonder if it's just gonna change as I get older when I have kids. It's like, 'cause then once you have kids, freedom what? Who? You freedom? You want freedom? You got kids, man. You don't have no freedom. You got
Is
responsibility
it
now.
as you get older, the definition of freedom just changes?
Yeah.
You
As
know,
you get
like
older,
because
you
you got
probably lose
one
your freedom.
stage of like childhood where it's just like freedom from all the adult bullshit,
Yeah.
and then you got along with that adult bullshit there comes freedom.
Yeah.
But then you have kids. I think you just become less free.
You become less free.
Less free.
But then when you become an old man, right? Like, say you're like an old man and like a. Well, no, because you're going to be taken care for. Then you have no freedom at all. You're just living by the whims of someone else.
That is the least amount of freedom that you have. Well, no, well,
Well, because
it's
can't,
kind of
you
you
can't
kind of just
leave.
go back to being a child again.
Kind of, but it's that's the point I was gonna
But
make. But think about it,
yeah,
it's a little more restrictive
because you've had those freedoms.
you had the freedoms. But again, I think if you're like 80 years old in assisted living and you have Alzheimer's, you can't drive. Or if you had a stroke, you can't drive. That's literally taking away
Well,
your freedoms.
your freedoms go away
Your
because
freedoms
of
as you get older. I think if
with
you
health.
lose more
Yeah,
and more
with
in your
health.
freedoms.
Yeah, because now you're talking about like mental freedom.
Right, because as you're old, you are strictly relying on other people to take care of you, which means you don't have as much freedom, and you still have to pay taxes, and you're still financially responsible for the most part. Whereas a kid, people try to protect your innocence, they try to protect your freedom. No one's protecting Grandpa's freedom.
Now we're oppressors, but in an endearing way. Yeah. We went deep with that one.
I mean, well, it's an interesting thought experiment, right? Are you more free as a kid as an adult? Well, I mean, it depends. Depends. I look at it. Legally, an adult, because once you hit 18, you can do certain things. Once you're 21, you can do certain things. So you can define freedom like that by the law. You can define freedom
But
as
it's
like
like
financials.
it's like such a society created version of freedom when you're an
Yeah.
adult.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
like, oh, I have the freedom to drink. I have the freedom to go to war.
I have the freedom to vote.
To vote,
Yeah.
to pay taxes, to do whatever you want.
I mean, there's responsibilities with freedom too, right? There's plenty of responsibilities that come with being
Spider-Man.
free,
Spider-Man.
and yeah, power, responsibility, all that fun stuff. But yeah, that's pretty good. That was a good question to hop us right back in, Christian. It's like we're riding a bike. We just picked up right where we left off back in
Yep,
like
yep,
November.
yep.
Where the fuck we did it. All right, what we got? Next question.
This one I'm feeling this one right now. What are your thoughts on landlords?
Ooh.
Because I'm moving right now, so this has been on my mind.
You're looking for a landlord.
I'm not looking
Okay,
for
so-
a landlord.
No, you're looking for a
I'm
landlord.
looking for an apartment. They come with
Hey,
landlords.
Yeah, that is owned by a landlord. So there's two ways to go about this. 'Cause I've rented, man. I've been renting since my junior year of college.
Me too.
So you can go with a company or an individual, and there are pros and cons to each. And everyone's gonna list their
I
pros
don't
and
trust
cons.
companies.
I didn't think I would trust. It depends how big the company is. Like, the company is like Wall Street. Yeah, I don't trust Wall Street because that's kind of what's going to happen in America. Wall Street's buying up neighborhoods, so have fun with that. And
Good luck getting anything done with a management company.
exactly. That's the point. That's the point I'm trying to make, because it's a lot harder. But then again, they have the means to actually do it. Whereas an individual landlord, there's more room for wiggle room. So like, we are living with an individual who owns the whole building. So, like, when it comes to rent next year, we have more ways to negotiate rents with someone we know personally than a management company goes up. It's just cost living 5% or 6% or 8%.
See,
Take it or leave it.
but on the other hand, a management company, sometimes they're spread thin.
They are
Meaning, like, in an ideal world, you're like, oh, this is a company, this is a corporation. They have the resources to get it done. Oftentimes, they got one guy or girl to maintenance 30 apartments.
like landscaping.
You know what I mean?
Well,
So
you looking in the suburbs, I'm assuming.
I'm no, I'm looking more. Well, I was, but now I'm probably gonna move to Jersey City.
Right. So you think of Jersey City, it's not much landscaping for them to
Well,
do.
I
It's
don't
not
mean
much,
landscaping. I mean just general maintenance. Like
even like plumbing
yeah,
or mailroom security.
general
Yeah.
maintenance. Something breaks, you have an issue. With you call the management company.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're, just based off reading the reviews, it's just like, yo, it takes reminding, or it just doesn't get done at all a lot of times with
Yeah.
management companies. But I do get your point with individuals. There's more room for that. There's more possibility that a landlord could not have the resources, the
Yeah.
money to actually, do what needs to be done.
Oh,
Fix what
my
needs to
landlord
be
does.
fixed. Let's say you like a pipe breaks or something. That's gonna run
Yeah.
an individual a lot of money.
Right. And it's also tricky, right? Because like my grandmother owns 3 properties, I think, including their own. So they had one in Florida, one down the Cape Cod, and then one in Quincy up in Massachusetts. They rented out the one in Florida and the Cape, pretty frequently when they weren't there. Now, I couldn't imagine if my landlord was in a different part of the country. Like if I lived in Massachusetts, my landlord was in Florida, I'd be like, "The fuck are you doing?"
You're not lording over this land.
Yeah, you're not lording over your lands. Whereas, like, the landlord I currently have, she's great because she cares about the building, right? She told us they wanted a quiet couple to take care of the place because when she retires or dies, she's gonna hand the building off to her kid. So it's like great. She is invested in her own place. It's not just a profit margin.
There's
for
levels
her.
to that level of investment, though.
There
Like
is.
right
There
now,
is.
I'm deciding between all of them had landlords, they're apartments,
Yeah.
but one of them has, and this is a big, I don't know. One of them, and this is the way the world works. It's a devil in a red dress. It's an enigma, right? It's ironic. The
Yeah.
place I like the most, it looks like a home. Marble countertops, beautiful cabinetry, everything's finished, huge living room, comes with a parking spot in
Ooh.
Jersey City. In Jersey
Oh.
City. Mind you, I
Oh.
parked on the curb to see this apartment.
Is it the Heights?
I don't know where it is. I have to look the address.
I'll look. I'll look.
But
at it.
no, the parking situation's so bad. I did like the Romans, do like the Romans do. I
Oh
I,
yeah,
I
the
was
parking
I
in
was
JC is a
looking
nightmare.
as past. I saw the address, saw the number on the door. I looked for parking. There's no parking. There is probably at least 5 cars with like their wheel up on the curb. So I get in this apartment. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's huge. Parking space, as I said, big game changer. However, the landlord lives downstairs, and they are an elderly couple. And do I want to deal with that?
Well, that you would need to speak. So my advice, put that camera on me. My advice would be you would speak to that landlord, like, what are your expectations of me as a tenant? Right, because I've never lived with a landlord in the same building. I would not like that.
This would be my 4th time. Other times weren't so bad, but I was younger. So
Right.
like, yeah, your actions have consequences, but like when they do have the consequences, you don't necessarily care as much. Let's
Right.
say you want to play some music and the landlord tells you to turn it down, you just turn it down, but you still turn it up again.
Yeah, you turn up again the
But
next
as an
day.
adult, you're just like, yo, I probably shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm just like, okay, like, you don't want to, be in a situation where you have to ask your landlord, like, if you're going to have a housewarming. Is that okay? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's like having parents. We're
Yeah,
grown.
like yeah, it's true. Freedom. Talk back to freedom. But it's more of like how much how much can they tolerate? Now, they can tell you don't have people over. You go, yeah, okay. But then you read the lease. Is it in the lease? No. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Pretty much.
Get legal on them.
Yeah, and you don't have that with the management company. I've had a great management company, one in Hoboken. I think it was Applied Housing. People said it was a nightmare. I've had nothing but a great experience with them. They had an exterminator come once a month. Their maintenance people kept the building clean. All the mailroom was like, not the mailroom, but everything was like in a locked cage. Like,
What
whenever
were
it comes
the
with
what were the horror
packages-
stories?
I don't know. Like it's people online and people tell me like this, like they've had horror stories. Like I had never had any issue. I would just email like the person who showed me the property, be like, hey, here's the issue here. They scheduled someone, they came, it got fixed.
But your rent's probably a pretty penny.
Rents back then, it was two of us. It was about $12.75 each. That was 2020. With 2019,
I
it was
mean,
2020.
that's a decent. Was that 2 bedroom?
Two bedroom.
That's a decent 2 bedroom.
Yeah,
I mean, was this Hoboken?
Hoboken. And before that, I was paying. God, how much was I paying? It was a three bedroom. I split it three ways with two other girls. I don't remember how much I was paying, but it was less than that. Maybe it was
All
a
right.
little more. No, it was less
That
than
is
that.
giving me the perfect pivot here. This question isn't on the list.
Okay, please.
Living with opposite gender roommates.
I had no issue.
Because you know what
here
they say a lot of stuff. Like it's a bad idea. Because I was considering it myself.
I did. Well, you might have some issues
Uh,
because you're pretty. I didn't have any issues. So what happened to me was, I had moved into Hoboken. 20. It's been 5 years now, actually in May. So I sublet. I took over someone else's room, and there was just two other girls there. Super nice, kept to themselves. Like if you're a guy living with two girls, it's and they were strangers. I had no idea who they were.
I mean, there's some ground rules. It's like, well, the main one is just don't be a creep.
Yes, correct. Personal space. Like one thing I learned about living with women in that way, they didn't interact with each other either. Like they were friends, but they didn't interact with each other. They mostly stayed in their room and cooked and like were in the bathroom. That was
sounds
it.
friendly.
Yeah, I mean they were fine.
No,
They were nice. They
I'm
were
being
nice girls.
sarcastic, but
Yeah, and one of them had a dog, a corgi, which was just so cute. I miss Mocha. He was a great dog. But I had no issues. You know, we were cordial. We were respectful. You know, I did my podcasts from there. They never knocked on my door once. I'm gonna shut the fuck up. You know, no problems with music. We all had different work schedules, so it depends on the girls. You know, they moved out. Another girl moved in. She had no. I lived with 5 different girls in that apartment from people moving in and out. I never had any issue. And then when I moved out, it was 2 guys and a girl.
yeah,
And it's so it depends on the people.
yeah. I mean, and
No.
you know, you're not a creepy guy. I mean, I think it's like don't be a creep, don't hit on your roommates,
Yes.
don't take it there.
Yes.
And if you follow and the thing is, they're really easy rules, but for some people,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. I would have preferred to live with guys. Don't get me wrong, but I had no problem with any of the girls I lived with. They were all really nice. And then I moved in with Nash, and then COVID happened.
Nash
And
from
now here I am.
Nashville,
Nash from
coolest
Nashville.
guy.
Yeah. But would you ever want to be a landlord?
I think I could. I think. Well, this is
People
what
treat it
every
like a
this is what every
cakewalk.
tenant would say. I mean, this is what every person would say as long as I have a decent tenant. But I've been told that I'm pretty intuitive, like empathic.
Mm.
I'm real big on energy, and I can kind of. I've had the situation where I'm like somebody just didn't rub me right, and I didn't know the reason, didn't act on it, was still polite, respectful, friendly, but then
Yeah.
stuff came out later. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's interesting. So I think I would probably be able, if I get a good tenant, if I was able to use those intuitive wizard-like powers to choose a good tenant, then I think I'd be pretty cool. And I wouldn't sweat the small stuff, And I probably, it also, the type of landlord you are also depends on whether you live on the property, I think.
Yeah, that's a big thing for me. So like, there's these like split level houses, or like
Multifamilies.
multi-families where it's like I live in the bottom floor, and then someone lives above us or below us. I don't want that, especially if it's a house. You know that's mine. I don't want to share that. That's mine.
Well, if I do, I'd put the trouble people. I mean, if you could actually, think about this beforehand, I put the trouble
Right.
people on the top. Like I'm thinking a 3-family. The trouble people are on the top. The modest, quiet, don't cause any problem people are on the second. And if I'm saying if I lived there, then I'd be on the first.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I have no problem owning another
Because
property.
I do want to own a multifamily, but I don't know if I want to live there. But when you're starting off, that's probably how most people start off. They start off living with, and then once they expand, it's like, yeah, I'm not trying to deal with this anymore.
Yeah. But people think it's really easy being a landlord. I'm like, no, it's work. It's hard.
You
It's
got
a lot of
another
work.
set of children that are adults.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. All right, that's a good question. What else we got?
This one's so messed up. I'm not gonna say that one.
Boo.
Okay. My friend wrote this one actually. You're gonna want to skip it. When someone close to you dies, how long do you take to unfollow them on social media?
That's a good one. I did.
I mean, I
I'm
I
glad, I'm
just
glad I
I
didn't write
just
it.
wouldn't. It's not like why would you unfollow them? Like it's not like they're gonna be posting and then you're gonna like see the post and remember that they're no longer here. Like what is your incentive to actually unfollow them?
It's just weird, right? So
Well,
like,
the thing that we're like more people at one year at some point there's gonna be more dead people on Facebook than the actual human.
well, we've talked about that, right, on this podcast before. I think that the future of Facebook is a graveyard.
Right.
And there's gonna be more dead people than alive people on it. Now, I saw this question. I thought back. It's like, okay, how many people on my Facebook like friend I'm friends with are actually dead? And there's a handful of them. A lot of overdoses from high school. One of them is actually my cousin, and just a few things here and there. And I think I'm still friends with all of them, but there's no reason why. Like I've never thought about unfriending someone who's dead on Facebook. And it's like other than my cousin, it's no one who is actually close to me. So I think it's weird if someone who's alive still posts updates like, oh, today and today would have been so and so's. Like it's extra weird if they're like, oh, this is Brian. Today is Brian. If they say it in Brian's voice, today would have been my 33rd birthday.
Oh my god, that is
But
very creepy.
I've never seen that. But it's more of oh, today would have been Brian's 33rd birthday. Like I'm sad, love mom or something like that, which is still a little weird. But hey, man, grieve how you grieve. But to answer the question, I don't, and I haven't because I haven't seen the need to. It's extra. It would be extra weird if you got a notification that someone unfriended you, but I've never thought about it.
Yeah, I mean personally, I just wouldn't. Because here's the thing.
There's no
We're
reason
in
to.
an era where people do not have photo albums anymore, right?
Right.
So, hypothetically, family member dies, do you unfollow them? Their profile's private. Now what? You want to go back down memory lane? It's over. Nobody knows
Yeah.
their password.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's done. There's somebody who didn't follow them. You're gonna really go through the trouble of finding somebody who does follow them and have them send you screenshots. That's even weirder.
That's extra weird.
You know?
Yeah. And if it's someone who was well, then again, if it's someone who was actually close to you, you probably have pictures with them already,
Say,
right? So why you need their profile?
say again?
Like if it's someone who's close to you, right? Say I don't know, a good friend of yours, right? Die in a car accident, right? You probably have pictures with them already in your phone. Why do you need their public Facebook profile or Instagram for that matter?
I don't know. Guess not. I guess not.
I can kind of take a twist and turn for this one too. So breakups. Breakups is I'm not saying unfollow them from breakups. Yeah, that's pretty normal. But if you're dating for 3 years, do you delete all the photos together from your social media?
I think the real question is, because this has been a topic of debate in my life, do you delete photos? Because everything's cloud-based, right? I think the photos are an abyss. And sometimes your phone will be like, remember this?
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
it could be a bad time, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. If you were in a previous relationship, do you delete those photos?
I have.
I don't.
I
And
don't
I've had
either.
girls say, well, you're not going to have, all these moments with someone in your phone, they say if we were serious, and I'm like, well, I'm not deleting things. I took this picture for a reason. I was happy at this point in my life. It's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's done. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't delete.
I've only had one actual relationship other than the one I'm in now,
Mhm.
and it didn't end bad.
Right.
It was just we both graduated college, and she wanted to move back home. I wanted to stay in New York, and it just didn't work. So cool. I had no reason to delete images.
Right.
Now, if Jazz cheated on me and I broke up with her, I can't say I'd still feel the same way. Maybe I would delete
Well,
them.
yeah. I mean, that's a different situation. I mean,
but to your point though, I don't delete them because it's like this is a point in my life. Like I don't want to just.
I'm not erasing parts of my life
that.
for like really anyone. It's like, well, it happened. Whether you see the picture or not, we were at this particular restaurant on this day, and we took a picture. You know what I'm saying?
And I posted it with a stupid caption.
You know, whatever. And but that was then, and this is now.
I just like. Then again, if someone's like, I just want it gone from my profile. Like I just don't. I want to forget that part of my life. I get it.
Well, I get the argument when it comes to like social media. It's like, okay, well, why do you have a picture of your ex on let's say your Instagram?
Yeah,
I get that. I get that a little bit because it's like, okay, well, it's me now. Why is this other person there? I get that, but I also could bring that back to your previous statement that I agree with, the sentiment that like that was a part. You got to scroll down for that.
Yeah,
that's at the bottom.
You gotta actively find it.
You know what I mean? This is at the top. This is the latest. But I get that though. It's like, why, you know? It also depends the level of seriousness, like marriage or something.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Have you ever been winked at?
You know, I don't think so. I don't think I have ever been winked at. It's a nice little. Like I've been told I'm pretty good at winking. I'm a pretty good winker.
Let's put it on you real quick. Let's see.
All right, so, I'll take the glasses off.
Yeah,
The lights are in there. This guy, it's like look. I'm just gonna little wink.
Oh, with the cheek, little side smile.
Yeah, little. If you're just on audio, sorry, go to YouTube or it's TikTok. It'll be on TikTok.
They're gonna tune in for the wink.
It's just like because I'll wink at Jazz at home. I was gonna be like, hey.
I think I got winked at at the first time last week.
Last week? Oh, this is topical.
But it's not. It was from an older woman, and it wasn't like that. You know, it was just a wink, and a colleague. And yeah, but it wasn't a spicy wink. It wasn't a spicy wink.
Here's the thing. Like, is winking a sexual?
It can
gesture?
be.
I know it can
most
be, but
things
is it
can
inherently?
Most things can't be.
I think. When is it like? Well, I guess if it's like a wink miss. Like I acknowledge you, right? Like if
See, but we think about it like that. Do you know? You know what? I think this really comes down to the smirk face.
Yeah, if you're gonna smile with it, give a little head nod.
You know. But I think a wink, because a wink could be innocent. It could be like, it's like, oh man, I'm really struggling with this. You'll get there, and a little wink. I can't wink. I look like I'm like discombobulated when I do it. Like you'll get it, kid, and it's like wink, whatever. It doesn't have to be spicy.
It's just such a weird concept. It's like I'm just gonna blink with one eye and call it a wink.
Which takes significant effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm much better at winking with my right eye than my
I've never
left.
been winked at. That only happens in the movies.
Yeah, it's a very Hollywood
You know where
thing,
like a girl winks at you or something? Like that doesn't.
Like here's the thing, like right, if you're in a movie, right? You're at a bar. The girl winks at you. The guy walks over. The guy winks at her, and she walks over. You did that in real life. They're getting security.
Or they're just being like
what? Get away from me.
Yeah.
I mean, I should try it. Maybe we should try winking at strangers on the subway. It's like, let's see what happens. Maybe not on the subway because it's like crowded and it's compact. But if you like walk on the street, if you move to Jersey City, it's first day, go up to someone and just wink. Or like if you go to Bodega, get a breakfast sandwich, like thanks, bud, and wink.
That's just a lot. That's really a lot. That's really a lot.
It's just weird. It's
That's
weird.
a lot.
Yeah.
I would have to practice. That's a lot.
I understand how people like can't like how you bad at winking. It's just one eye.
Cause you see how my whole cheek moves? It's not right. It's not right, man.
That's fine. Look at my mustache.
You know what I think you shield how bad you are at winking by smiling at the same time. That's how you kind of. Nah, my whole face moves. I can't do it, man.
Yeah, and it doesn't work if you're not smiling. If you're not smiling, it's just weird. You gotta be smiling.
It just looks like you got something in your eye.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been winked at, and I want to be. Someone wink at me. Just don't catcall me or whistle. Just wink.
I bet girls have a difference. I bet they've been winked at more
Oh yeah, I
for
bet.
sure.
I do wish we had a female perspective on this
Mm,
podcast for the winking
mm.
question. So I'll save that one. I'll just go up to a random woman like, "Have you ever been winked at? What do you think? It's for my podcast." And I go, "No." Yeah, I just did. Yeah. Now what do you think? Do you like it? Let's see what happens.
Winking at them. Um,
That was a good quick one. What else we got?
can you teach confidence?
Ooh.
I think I don't. I don't think you can. You genuinely for
See
like
what I mean? It's a tough question.
genuinely. I don't think it can be taught. I think it can be imitated,
It can be
but I
imitated.
think it can be. You can manufacture situations that give someone confidence. I actually thought about this recently. I was like, all right, I have a friend who doesn't have that much confidence, but what if I just, let's say I went up to some people in a bar and I was like, yo, my friend's like, for example, not realistic, movie like stuff. My friend's having a hard time. He's this, he's that, da 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 da. He's awesome. Go talk to him. Let's say they listened. And then they go talk to him. He's gonna feel confident after that.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna start start feeling yourself. And at that point, it was manufactured. There's situations that can make you confident. They could be conjured up or they can happen naturally. And I think at that point, you act the role. You act like a confident person.
I don't think you can teach it. You can instill confidence.
Exactly.
Right? Like
Exactly.
you can hype someone up, but that confidence doesn't come from someone else. That confidence comes from within. People, my entire life, have been trying to teach me to be confident.
No, but
Whether it's
you are
like
confident.
in my own way. Right? It took me a long time to get there, and a big thing that helped me was podcasting, believe it or not.
I believe it.
Um people have been like, this is what you gotta do, like to get girls. This is what you gotta do to be good at sports, or this is what you gotta do. And it comes down to just be confident, just believe in yourself. It's like, well, how do you do that? Like, no one can physically teach you that. People can believe in you, and that can create confidence. But confidence is an emotion, right? Confidence is a feeling. Can you teach someone to be sad?
Right. I mean, but
No.
but
You can make
success
someone sad.
success breeds confidence.
Yes, that's also
So
true.
it doesn't. You could be. People think of. See, the thing is, confidence has a certain. It's always orientated in a certain way. That like confident means that you go and talk to people and you're social and you're the life of the party and you're funny and you're charming and all of the things. But you could be the most confident like locksmith. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, last guy said this is gonna take 2 hours. 5 minutes. I got it. You know what I mean? You could be
Yeah.
confident in that way.
Yeah. That's still an internal thing.
Right. That is an internal thing. I think finding the thing that you're good at breeds confidence. Doesn't have to be the prototypical things.
Right. But like, okay, so how can you teach yourself to be confident? Right? Because that's like, can you teach yourself to be confident?
It's hard to be
It's just-
confident if you suck at something.
That's true. But you can also fake it till you make it. Like I would say, like, I cannot teach you, Christian, to be confident at podcasting. Right? I can just do podcasts with you and hope you pick it up. Right? But I can teach myself to be confident by doing it over and over again, listening back, editing myself, trying to replace myself. Stop saying right so much. Stop saying like so much. Improve on things. Eventually, you get better at it. That's kind of teaching is self-confidence. But no one can teach you how to do that. They can teach you how to become good at podcasting, but to be confident and believe in yourself to do it, I can't teach you that.
It takes practice and repetition. You could
why life
you
coaches-
could
that's why I like life
be
coaches
you
are
could
bullshit.
be. Oh, that's a good point. That should have been a question. What do you think about life coaches? I mean, because
I
you
hate
could
them.
be on paper, you could be king or queen of the castle.
Mhm.
Let's say all most of the things like on paper. You got a great job, you got the car, you got the house, you do fun things, but you're socially inept. You don't know how to talk to people. A person isn't really considered confident, even though they have the success. So that's just me playing the other side of the coin, playing devil's advocate.
Right. Yeah. So I would say, no, you can't really teach someone else to be confident because it just doesn't work. Like if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to be confident. Confidence it's an internal thing. It's not an external thing. But
It's like drive, will.
yeah, willpower.
Can't make you want it.
Yeah, you can't force confidence into somebody. You can hype them up. Again, you can try. You can be a good friend. You can be supportive. But if they don't believe it, it doesn't. It's all for nothing. So that's good. It's a good question though.
Talk that stuff, Will.
Like motivational people, motivational speakers, it's just like you guys gotta be confident. You gotta believe. You gotta do this. You gotta.
I mean, those people do have a skill. They really have the ability to transfer their energy onto a group of people. But then what happens when those people leave? Maybe it lasts a couple days. But sometimes that's all it takes. And that's the argument to be made about life coaches and motivational speakers. You just need a little kick in the ass to get started. And then maybe you start building that confidence on your own.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Right. But I would even say the same thing, right? Because you can listen to motivational speakers all day long and still be sitting on the couch listening to motivational speakers.
It's like self-help books.
They say go do. Yeah. Well, actually, self-help. There is one or two self-help books that actually I did find very, very useful. But at the end of the day, I didn't become successful because I read that book. I became successful because of what I took away from that book. It's a me
and more
thing.
And more importantly, what you did after.
Exactly. It's what I do with the information, but no one taught me how to do that. I took this idea I heard and was like, oh, that makes sense to me. Here's how I can use this.
You weren't a looky-loo. You actually applied it.
Yeah, it's like, do I credit my drum teacher for me being good at drums, or do I credit me for practicing and playing and being good at it?
You introduced it, but you put the work in.
Right.
Are you good at drums?
I'm okay. I mean, people think I'm good, but I don't think I'm good. Exactly. I didn't practice. I convinced my drum teacher for 10 years I did, but I didn't. So if I actually applied myself, I would be pretty good at it, but I never wanted to be a musician. I never wanted to be good at music, but I am. So that's just kind of the way it is.
You're in a studio, sir.
I know I'm in a studio. With
guitars and instruments around you.
Well, you know why I didn't play guitar? This one right here specifically, because I broke too many strings. I started playing with my friends a little bit. I broke like 2 strings.
How hard are you plucking them?
I don't know. I almost broke
gripping the guitar like way too hard.
Yeah, I broke
some strong fingers, man.
I broke 2 strings of my friend's guitars. Like, you know what? I'll play drums. So,
break the sticks, but they're easily replaceable.
Yeah, I never broke a pair of sticks. I think I probably still have my original pair of sticks unless I broke them. So I don't remember. I don't know.
Memento.
But I live in an apartment, so when I get a house, I'm gonna buy a drum kit again and start jamming a little bit. But yeah. But like I did a concert. I did one concert with my 8th grade band, and did my drum teacher teach me how to be confident when playing? No, he taught me how to play. But when I went up there and did like a drum solo or played Smells Like Teen Spirit or whatever we played, the confidence came within to make sure I could actually do this. Like, you could teach someone all you want how to play drums. If you're scared to get on stage, no one's going to conquer that stage fright other than yourself.
Now, that's a fact. And watching someone else do it is not necessarily going to solve the problem.
Right. Or it's someone teaching you how to do it isn't going to solve the problem either. It can be the same with motivational speakers. It can be the same with the gym. Right? You can have a personal trainer, but if you still eat like shit, there's only so much they can do.
Gotta want it.
Yeah. So can you teach confidence? You can teach yourself how you do that. Just do it. It's an emotion. It's a feeling.
Question.
What do you got?
Should military service be mandatory in the U.S.? I say hell no.
Okay. That's a strong hell no. Go for it.
Nah, because I don't know what the actual statistic is, but our military already, like, first of all, Americans are assholes.
Yes.
Globally,
sure.
We think our shit don't stink. We think the world revolves around America.
Yep.
So add being trained like fighters with military experience. Add the fact that people are already going crazy over losing their guns, and actually give us, man, there would be a rebellion. It would be a mutiny. Every time there was an issue, I think it would destroy democracy. It's too much.
Interesting.
it's just too much. And look, and the statistic I was going to try to say is that like we make up like 40% of the military budget in the world
Yeah,
already
I believe that.
as
Yeah.
one
So
country. So add the fact that like we're going to be some killing machines. I don't know.
it's like our military budget is number one in the world. The next 10, we have more than the next 10 combined, and 9 of them are our allies in terms of the highest military budget in the world.
Yeah.
So out of the top 11, we have more than the next 10 combined, and 9 of those are our allies. I think the 10th one's like Russia or not, maybe China. I don't know.
I don't even think
But
this is real. I just looked this up. It says 801 billion 2021.
that sounds
Representing
accurate.
39% of the world's military spending.
Yeah, that sounds accurate. They get a lot of money, even though they don't know where it is. But say when I say mandatory service, I think it depends. Like, okay, what do you mean by
Oh, it
mandatory
isn't necessarily
service?
everyone's going to be a Marine.
Right.
You know what I mean? That could be
It could be Coast Guard, it could
reserve.
be Army.
Yeah.
And if the qualifications here is you have to go overseas and serve, or you got to go into combat, absolutely the fuck not. But
Everybody's not made for that.
no, but if you
Oh, and everyone would have PTSD.
yeah, you don't want that either. You shouldn't mandate that people serve overseas or they get a gun in their hand. But service can mean multiple
Serving
different things.
serving your country in some military aspect. I mean, you could
Yeah.
be a plane engineer.
Right. Sure. But you still gotta go through the boot
Yeah,
camp, right?
yeah.
Like when Katrina happened, right? They sent the Coast Guard or people from the EPA, whatever. The EPA is not military, but they sent the Coast Guard, let's say. Right? That's something you could serve in. Like service can mean a whole different things in the branch of military. And it does kind of teach you discipline. Those people who are kind of going crazy, they kind of need a drill sergeant to kind of whip them into shape and get that structure. It teaches you discipline. It can teach you patriotism and love for your fellow man. Like, there's definitely great benefits in the military. In the past few weeks, Christian, I had plenty of military men on the podcast, and their experience was great. And a lot of them weren't just like, people who struggled in high school. It's people who just wanted to make a difference or what have you. And if you ask them, they'd probably also say no. So I'm also going to say no.
Well, because
but
not everybody has. Not
Israel
everybody
does
has. Yes, I was going to say Israel does it, but not everybody has the moral compass or ability to be responsible with. Well, when I was going to the extreme, like actually fighting, trained soldiers.
No,
But
that'd be ridiculous.
when
That'd be
you
absurd.
break it, when you expand upon the definition of service, not everybody in the military is going into combat.
Yeah, like you could even break it down. I'd say most people in the military don't even leave the country.
Well, they say
right?
most
They
police
stay-
officers don't fire their guns.
Exactly. Right, they stay on at U.S. bases wherever they're stationed across the country.
But
across
those
the globe.
values are still instilled, though. Is your point?
Everyone goes through boot camp. Everyone has to pass the same physical. Whether you're an Air Force mechanic, whether you are a Marine, whether you are a defensive, whether you are a person in the military bands, you still go through the exact same basic training. And it does have great benefits in places like Israel because, again, it's kind of the patriotism, and you get more respect for your service members, which
and fellow men.
and fellow countrymen. And I think it'll also expose you to multiple people of different classes. Like if you go to boot camp, depending where you are, you can have people from across the whole country with multiple different political backgrounds, and that can make you appreciate things, or it can even turn you into a skinhead Nazi. So it can go both ways.
Yeah.
in the U.S. military specifically. So I think there is benefits to it. It's one of those things that works other places that would never ever work here because there's too many people. We're too diverse, too many different viewpoints, and like you said, we're crazy and gun crazy. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't work as well as it could work on paper, but
Well, it's just because of the American value system, like you're saying, it works in other places. I'm not sure, but again, in those other places, the definition of service is probably similar. It's not necessarily combat.
like you could honestly put this towards community service too, like actual community service. Just say, okay, the military, like the army or whatever, is gonna handle this certain thing, like a food bank, right? Like the Red Cross. Think that say the Red Cross is part of the military. that's something that could work. Like service could be a bunch of different things, as in community service. Now, did the question say armed forces or military? What the question actually say?
The question says just military service.
Military service.
Should it be mandatory in the U.S.?
Right. So that can mean a service that the military can conduct. So you could expand, like the military's already expanding anyway. You could expand the military to community outreach. I don't think that's going to happen, but theoretically you could.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that specifically like the Coast Guard. You know, if there's a natural disaster, like those tornadoes in the Midwest, just happens, right? You got people just got to clean it up, right? Or like California loves using prison labor for things. Maybe you don't use prisoners, and just make it be community service. You're an active member of your community, and everyone has a stake in the game. If you're forcing people to do service to the country, you have a greater stake in the well-being of said country.
Right. Imagine every single person had to do a certain level of community service before they were considered a civilian.
Right. But that also goes against the idea of freedom.
Right. And the American dream. You could be whatever you want.
Yeah, and American values. So, and we know rich people just get out of it.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
They would. They wouldn't pay. They wouldn't do it. They'd fuck this. You think like Jack Black's kid's gonna do it?
I'm gonna make some calls.
Yeah, right. All right, Christian. How long have we been going?
51 minutes.
Let's do one more.
All right. We want something serious, something funny.
Let's do something funny.
Who would win a fight, a grizzly bear or a bull?
They gotta be on neutral ground. So neutral ground to me would be grizzly bear can't be in the woods. And a bull can't be. I don't know where do bulls live. The farm. So I guess where do
bulls live?
Where they fight on the.
I mean,
beach?
I really don't think it matters where. I don't really think it matters.
No, it does because
where a bull is. It's not like the bear. Like you said, the bear can't be in the woods. Like, what do you think it's gonna take? Like a branch and swing it at the bull?
Just club and start beating the fuck out of it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what does a They just use their bodies. It don't really matter where they are.
All right, so
you do have a point though with the bear. The bear could climb a tree if it's getting messed up. It could try to retreat into a tree.
They're fighting in the world's largest parking lot.
I say put the bear in the same place that like where they do bullfighting.
Bullfighting.
That's just a gauntlet.
But then the bull has the advantage.
How does it have an advantage?
Because it's natural habitat.
It's not its natural habitat. It's not where.
It's not its natural habitat. It's in captivity.
It's not where bulls live.
It's an area that they are familiar with. Like, do bulls live on like the plains? I guess there's cows, right? So
I mean, it's a circular like gauntlet.
So I'm saying, put them in a parking lot.
Parking lot fight.
Like a 4-acre parking lot, like the MetLife parking lot.
So they're both confused because they're on concrete.
Exactly.
They're on pavement.
It's level playing ground. It's fair. So it's not like it's a shark and a bull. So it's like, okay, well, it has to be in some kind of water because no. Yeah. It's level playing ground. They're in a giant parking lot, no obstructions. It's just a blank canvas.
There should be cars, like just like couple parked cars,
scattered. Cars
so they could you could run around. Make it interesting.
Okay, that's fine. There's a few Honda Buicks. All right, how about that? So who would win a fight? So the bear has an advantage because it has 2 legs. It can run on 1s and 2s. And it can use its hands and claws. Bull, the only kind of attack is its face, the horns.
It's not.
Bull's not a good fighter, but then again,
what is the weight of a bear versus a bull, though?
Well, Google it. So the weight of a grizzly bear, and then the weight of a bull. So I'll Google the bull. I'm going to ask ChatGPT who's going to win this fight.
Yeah, that's ChatGPT. Of a grizzly. All right. I mean, the bull weighs more, but it's not. So we got here.
I mean, they're pretty.
A bear weighs about, on average, a male, 600 pounds.
Oh, that's a lot.
But I think bulls weigh more.
I'd say bulls probably like 8.
Okay, 1,100 and 2,200 pounds.
Okay, so it's almost twice the size,
if
not more.
But it can't move like a bear, though.
But it's all muscle.
It is all muscle, though.
It's all muscle. So
it can sustain some damage, you know what I mean?
Like the bear is going to tire itself out before the bull can even get it. And also, like, who's going to run faster, the bull or the bear if one needs to get away?
I think the bull.
I think the bear.
You think the bear is going to be
because
faster?
The bull has more muscle. It's harder to move around with that. Like,
Yeah, I mean, they're bigger, they're less agile.
Well, if you got Dave Bautista running out the Rey Mysterio's going to win because Mysterio is smaller and Dave Bautista's
So
just
how
muscle.
fast? Wait for it. How fast can the bull run?
How fast can a bull run?
35 miles an hour.
I'd say a bear's probably about the same.
Oh, look at that. Brown bear? But let's say grizzly.
Grizzly bear, because grizzly bear's specific because it's bigger.
35.
35, so the same. All right.
Bears are they're like soft.
They are soft, but they have teeth. They have more
They
weapons.
have more weapons.
They have their hands, their paws with their claws, and their teeth, and their roars. Bulls just... I don't know what sound bulls make. That's the best I got. So ChatGPT says grizzly bears are generally more agile and have longer limbs, sharp claws, and powerful jaws. So it's 3 weapons, which are adapted for hunting and defense. Bulls, on the other hand, have strength and mass, sharp horns, and a powerful charge. But the charge, I think, is kind of useless because they both run the same speed. And they use for defense. So they're both kind of defensive predators. Depending on the factors such as size and age. So like the size, age, physical conditions are the exact same, because for fairness. And the level of aggression and the environment when the fight takes place. Okay, of course, don't promote animal violence. Thanks, ChatGPT. This is all hypothetical, you bitch. I'm gonna go with the grizzly bear.
This is what Google says. You want to read it?
If the grizzly bear has an opportunity to ambush the raging bull, it'll have an easy win. But if the grizzly bear is startled by the bull and a large cattle could have a chance to gore the grizzly with its curved horns, however, it's unlikely the bull would knock out the grizzly with one attack. So that's the thing. Like it's like Pokemon Stadium, right? It's just fight. And the bell rings and they charge each other or they do whatever they want to do. It's not a sneak attack.
Do you think? Because it says the bear could be startled. Do you think we have this idea of like teddy bears being soft and cuddly. I mean,
no, bears are vicious.
They can be, but if it was being attacked by a bull, how would it react?
Viciously.
There gotta be some video of this somewhere.
Well, they're not. They don't have natural habitat, so it hasn't happened naturally ever.
Not naturally, but somebody like. That was promoting animal violence.
Some crazy man.
Somebody that was promoting animal violence.
I mean, but if the bull can get its horns, like, because it's on this side, right, and they go outwards.
I mean, but it's just like I get your point, because the bull's is gonna come like this, and the bear's just gonna move. It's like when you got a little brother, and you just hold their head. It's just like
yeah.
You know what I mean? You just keep moving out of the way.
I think it's the bear has more of an arsenal, but the bull is just twice the size.
But who has more stamina? Does the bear have stamina? Is the bear going to get tired of running out of the way? No, but it could easily just run. Could it? Just run around when the bull's charging and then come and get it from the back?
No, the bear's going to hold like a red sheet and go, Total!
Exactly.
Woo! It's like the Berenstein Bears. I don't know, man. I'm still going with the bear.
No, that's fair.
It's gonna take.
I just always root for the underdog.
Yeah.
Bad choice of words.
It depends on the bear's cardio.
Yeah. If the bear's out of shape, because bulls. I mean,
like if the bear just came out of hibernation. Ooh.
All right.
So I'm gonna go with the bear. You gonna go with the bull?
I want to go with the bull, but I just don't think it's likely. I like rooting for the underdog. But it's probably going to be the bear that wins that one.
I would just love seeing them fight in a parking lot. Like, you guys got to have natural ground, man. Can't be
a crowd of humans cheering them on.
Yeah, right? They just start going on to people and just start.
I mean, at that point, they might join forces.
Yeah, they could. They push the rings together and they form Mega Bull, Man, Bear, Pig.
I don't know that one.
Oh, see South Park. Come on, Christian. Come
on. Nah, I've never really watched South Park.
Oh man. That's a damn shame to you. But ladies and gentlemen, that will wrap up this podcast. Thank you for listening to Talk with Tarashuk podcast, the unknown, unnamed nonsense edition. Confidence, landlords, and bear attacks. I don't know. We'll think of a question. We'll think of a title afterwards. That's how we do it here. Christian, anything you want to plug before we go?
No, that's about it. Cube Recording Studios. This was shot, audio and video shot here. We could edit it. We could do whatever you want. CubeRecordingStudios.com, Montclair, New Jersey. We're on Apple Maps. We're on Maps. We're on Waze. All the places you can look up a location. Look us up on Google. You'll see all that.
All right, I got a lot of good guests coming up for the month of May. Starting up, we got a man named, I think his name's Adrian. He is a journalist who is over in Iraq or Afghanistan or Iran or somewhere in the Middle East. So it's going to be a lot of fun talking about American imperialism, my favorite. The following week, I got John Cooper, who is a good TikToker, 50,000 followers covering politics. So a lot to talk about there. We're going to have a lot of fun there. And then following him is Ryan Sullivan, who is a return guest from the Ambiguous Podcast Solution, founder of our works at Podcast Principles. Talk a lot about podcasting. It's a lot of fun stuff there. We'll come about the debt ceiling sometime in May as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. Great things coming up on our Talk with Tarashuk podcast. And again, in June, we'll be back at least sometime in June with another unknown, unnamed nonsense. And we'll see you there. But until then, y'all take care.